In the last sessions, we have discussed quite a bit about data mesh and data products. And today we want to talk about accelerating data product development in a data mesh. So data mesh is about the democratization of data engineering to get more business domain oriented data engineers producing data products to share across the enterprise. So, however, how can you accelerate data products development to shorten the time to value? That's the big question. So, what are the main things, Mike, you can do to accelerate data product development in a data mesh? What do you think?
Oh, I think there's a lot of things you can do here, Gregor, and they're not all to do with technology. For sure, I think we spoke briefly on the last DADS discussion we had about the idea of a centralized program office. This is really a way to coordinate what's going on so that everyone is aware of who's building what. This stops us reinventing, also prioritizes development. I think that's, first of all, a key organizational thing that I think helps to accelerate the development. In addition to that, of course, then I think there's a number of things that we can also do. One is to standardize on certain things so that we don't force people to do, let's say, common things, do them differently every time, and to take away the complexity, and avoid it. So getting to try and get consistent approaches to building data products and facilitate data sharing. So I think there's a number of things. We can have a common approach to kind of organizing the storage if you're going to build data products, so that different teams are kind of working in a consistent fashion there. I think common tooling so that we can share metadata is important. That allows us to become more productive and reuse things. I think you can create templates to get people started more rapidly with a common approach to development. I think you can create libraries, common libraries of shared services, so that if you need to get data from a file, well, there's a standard component to do that. If you need to mask data, there's a standard way to do that. We should not be inventing all of these things again and again across all of these teams. We should be just reusing components to do that. If we want if you want to get convert voice to text because it's unstructured data, you should have a standard service to do that. Just give it voice, get back a text. We don't want to have to completely reinvent these things again and again. And of course, DevOps or DataOps for version control, automatic testing, all of these things help to speed up the development. And to have a standard approach to publishing and setting policies to share data products in a data mesh, again, helps to speed things up, keep things consistent, and create kind of a standard approach to building APIs and making your data products available in a data mesh. I think all of these are useful things that we can do to, let's say, remove unnecessary complexity and speed people up in the overall development. But I think sharing metadata is also extremely important in helping to do that.
Yeah, you have mentioned DataOps or DevOps and DataOps. How does DataOps contribute to accelerate data product development?
Well, this is a great question. It's really about us, especially data engineers or data professionals, data architects, are often not so familiar with the principles of DevOps. This first emerged in software engineering, and application developers in many organizations are very familiar with this. And perhaps data scientists are more familiar with it as well, because they've been writing code and checking in code and things like that. But I think, yeah, we need to adopt the best practices that came out of there and use it in building data pipelines. And so that means, moving away from monolithic pipeline development to component-based pipeline development is similar to monolithic applications and microservices. And so we need to go there. I think as well, we can then any new components if we have people develop, we can adopt the ability to create a new branch for a new component that someone's working on within a team. Issue pull requests so that people can test it out, and then merges and support integration with GitHub, for example, as a common version management system to control the development of pipelines, so that as soon as you check something into there, we can automatically trigger testing and automatically trigger deployment should we get through the successful tests, and sort of manage the movement from development through test and into production in a more automated way. So I think what we're seeing with DataOps is really ways in which to facilitate collaborative development, so that we don't have just one data engineer building a pipeline. We get multiple members of the team building a pipeline. We get coordinated and collaborative development. We get automated testing, automated deployment. I think all of that, as well as version control, all managed, is a more rapid way to build pipelines. As we've seen with software, the development cycle used to be very long, and now it's very, very short. As people release new versions or new microservices, and the same principle we want to adopt with data engineering is to shorten the development time and make it more consistent approaches to being able to automate testing and automate deployment. I think all of that makes lots of sense.
So you have mentioned also not reinventing every time one and the same thing, reduce the stuff, the boring stuff of manual work using standards, patterns, templates, and so on. That leads me to the question, can data automation software be used to help to accelerate data product development?
That's a fabulous question. That's a fabulous question. For me, absolutely. Now, this is really interesting. You think about what's going on in our industry. 30 years ago, when we started doing ETL development on Warehouse, we were manually building everything, and I still see a lot of people doing that. And I think, well, now we have catalogs that can automatically discover what data is out there. They can generate metadata. They can tell you about the quality of the data. They can tell you about where the sensitive data is. And so the catalog is holding all of this rich metadata. And then you think, well, if I know this, if I know the common data names in a glossary, and I know the sources, and I know the mappings, can I not generate these pipelines? And I think that's super exciting. I mean, if we use data automation software to generate the pipelines to create the data products, now we're going to shorten the time again, dramatically shorten it. So I think for me, this is a big future for automation. We've seen maybe over the last 20 years data warehouse automation, but I think this same technology is now able to tap into the catalog and use it to build data products, which are used not just for data warehouses, but for other analytical use cases. So I absolutely think that data automation software can be used in the development of data products in a data mesh. In fact, I think this could very easily be the future going forward.
So that sounds great, especially for us, Mike. So in this case, every time when I'm talking to somebody in terms of automation, we talk about the speed up development, but what's really counting is the time to value, not the time to produce. So That leads me to that question: can data automation software be used to help accelerate data product consumption as well, not only the development?
100%, because if you build these data products, you publish them in a marketplace, and then people want to use them. They maybe need to select the data products that are needed for to help them build a machine learning model in data science, or maybe I need these data products to create my graph database for fraud analytics, or I need these data products to help me build a data warehouse. Well, again, I need to be able to build a pipeline for that. But this time, the data is already clean. It's already available in a data product. And so, but we still need to have those pipelines to consume the data products and quickly help create the data, for a feature set for a machine learning model, or to put in a feature store, or to put in a warehouse, or to put in a graph database. And so I absolutely believe data automation tools can be used in consumption because it helps you consume quicker. Excuse me. And not only that, but the data mesh itself supports the idea of one data product can become the input to a pipeline that creates another data product. And so again, we need another pipeline. So for me, absolutely, the data automation tools can be used in the creating consumption pipelines more rapidly to shorten the time to value again. So we can see definitely the ability to use data automation software to create the data products in the first place, and also to quickly create the pipelines to consume the data products to support the creation of and building of different analytical workloads.
Yeah, perfect, Mike. That sounds great. So we have talked a lot of topics what could help to accelerate producing data products today. So do you have some hints and tips on that topic where I can find more detailed information about that? What are the really important areas what I should think about to accelerate data product development and making my data mesh at least successful? So because I think when it's implemented as fast as possible, or time to value is there, then it will be successful at the end of the day. So can you give us some hints and tips to deep dive in the most important thing that we have discussed so far?
Of course. If you want just a background on data mesh, there's Shao McDagoni's book on that she created around the data mesh concept and in that. But I also have a 2-day education class on best practices for implementing a data mesh, which talks about data catalogs. It talks about data fabric, and that we spoke about in the last DAD discussion. I also talk about data marketplaces and the potential promise of data automation to really accelerate the development of data products. So yes, you can go there, and of course I can also recommend the use of data automation in data warehouse modernization, not just for data mesh, of course, because data warehouse modernization these days may be involved in migrating your data warehouse to the cloud, in which case you can use automation tools to help you do that. Similarly, if you're also going to modernize your schema, moving from, let's say, a Kimball approach to a data vault, you can use data warehouse automation tools to help do that automatically and deal with the complexity and significantly reduce the risk of your data warehouse migration project. And of course, if you're going to build data warehouses on the cloud, then again, you can use data warehouse automation or data automation software to do that too. So for me, yeah, there's multiple use cases for data automation software. I have additional classes on data warehouse automation and on data warehouse migration to the cloud. But of course, there's a lot more links out there as well to other content that you can gain access to. But I'll provide you with some links.
Perfect. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Mike. That sounds super exciting. You have mentioned a lot of additional use cases, and I think we have a couple of additional topics for the future to discuss on that as well. So thank you very much for today, and see you the next time. Bye-bye.
Okay. Thank you, Gregor. Bye.
Bye.